Chapter 056, Third Kind of Contact. Internal beta testers fell into three categories: casual players who won access through lotteries, work-for-hire players from guilds and clubs, and professional players who obtained access through various channels. The latter two groups shared a common goal: to pioneer and lead the pack. The internal beta only lasts 12 days. Grinding newbie quests is largely pointless. You've probably noticed the high degree of player freedom. To establish a lead, you need to explore the map. That's the true pioneering gameplay. Right now, it's a golden age without competition. Everything outside the newbie village is virgin territory, brimming with countless opportunities. Blade of Fury understood immediately. With limited beta time, staying in one place to grind quests was a waste. It might grant a few level advantage over public server players initially, but that gap would become insignificant as everyone leveled up. This vast world was like an untouched gold mine. So many locations, so many factions. Whoever arrived first would secure endless subsequent quests and resources. As a player, being stuck grinding quests in one area was undeniably less appealing than exploring the uncharted wilderness. Blade of Fury asked, puzzled. Why are you telling me all this? They were competitors, after all. Giving him this advice meant creating another rival. Moonlit Serenade chuckled. The big guilds will realize this sooner or later. They have manpower and can easily pool together the money to buy maps. So we need to team up too. Me, Fried Rice, and Raindrop are already a squad. How about joining us? This was a no-brainer. Blade of Fury agreed without hesitation. Sparkling Fried Rice, curious, inquired, 4 people splitting 3,000 credits for a map. How are we dividing it? Moonlit Serenade responded, since I initiated it. I'll put in the lion's share. I don't like owing favors. I'll contribute 1,000. That's settled. Raindrop's tone was aloof. She turned and walked away to continue questing, unwilling to waste even a second. Moonlit Serenade scratched his nose with a wry smile. They had known each other for years. Why did she have to be so formal? Couldn't she give a guy a chance to woo her? A day later, the 4 gathered again, enough credits pooled to purchase a map. Upon viewing it, many areas on their panels lit up. The fog of war significantly reduced. The map also came with basic information on planet Aquamarine's societal structure. They learned about the 6 nations, the Sprout organization, and rogue warlords. After reviewing the map, Moonlit Serenade frowned in thought. According to this, the largest factions are the 6 nations and the Sprout organization. The 6 nations seem to have official academies and various dojos, and they're also recruiting. It's easier to get a primary profession there, so we should choose a faction. I think Star Dragon looks good. The others didn't object, mostly because it was the closest. The Great Horn Mountain Settlement was located within the Star Dragon Nation. A public train transit station wasn't far from here. Such stations were scattered across the wilderness, some public facilities established by nations, others transport routes of different factions. These train stations were the wilderness's transportation network, fast and safe, accessible for a fee. If one wasn't afraid of encountering beasts, they could also drive themselves or ride beast mounts across the mountains and valleys. Moonlit Serenade nodded. Time is precious. If we're going, we should head straight to the capital. It'll take about 3 days. Blade of Fury felt a pang of regret. 3 days wasted just traveling. But he was too embarrassed to back out now. Money had been spent. How could he quit halfway? The train was crowded. Passengers occasionally triggered minor quests. Better than nothing, but the inability to skip travel time was agonizing for the 4 professional players. Fortunately, they could browse the forums to pass the time. Otherwise, boredom would be lethal. Players from various newbie planets shared their experiences on the forums, which the group found fascinating, except for Blade of Fury, who was tense, counting down every second, heart aching. To him, this was all a waste of precious beta time. 3 days later, the train arrived at West Capital. Through the wire fence, gazing at West Capital's bustling cityscape, new prompts appeared on everyone's panels, announcing the discovery of Star Dragon Capital, rewarding a small amount of experience. So, exploring the map also gives experience. Sparkling Fried Rice looked around, full of curiosity, amazed by the NPC's lifelike quality. Even their expressions of disdain were so vivid, impressive. Following the crowd, the four underwent inspection at the checkpoint. Soldiers scanned them with various devices. All indicators flashed green, all clear. Passing through the checkpoint, the guards handed each of them a new item, a Star Dragon temporary ID card. Sparkling Fried Rice suddenly stopped, surprised. Faction prompts appeared. No need for his reminder, Blade of Fury had noticed too. Panel prompts indicated a new faction unlocked. Star Dragon Nation, 0 favorability, current relationship indifferent, identity temporary citizen. Moonlit Serenade looked at the group. So, do we continue as a team? Or split up and act individually? I'll stick with you, Sparkling Fried Rice grinned. He and Moonlit Serenade were from the same club, of course. They would stick together. Raindrop also chose to team up with Moonlit Serenade. They were all familiar with each other, and it was more convenient to move together, tilting her head slightly. She said seriously, "Don't bully me." Moonlit Serenade was both amused and helpless. He had known Raindrop for years and knew this girl could always pull off a serious-faced cute act. Unintentionally, after a few jokes, Moonlit Serenade turned to Blade of Fury, casually asking, "What about you?" watching the three pro players chatting and laughing. Blade of Fury, realizing he was just a newbie, felt inexplicably inferior. Throughout the journey, he hadn't been able to join their conversations, feeling detached from the group. As if his presence was inconsequential, this feeling made him uncomfortable. He hesitantly waved his hand, stammering, "No thanks, I prefer to act alone." "All right then, maybe we'll play together sometime." Moonlit Serenade didn't mind. The three of them left together. Blade of Fury watched the three pros' backs. Feeling a surge of resentment, he muttered to himself, "I'll squeeze into your circle sooner or later." The internal beta was his chance to rise, now that he was in West Capital. A clearly high-level area, there must be plenty of quests to trigger. He was at the same starting line as Moonlit, Fried Rice, and Raindrop. With his skills, he could definitely make a name for himself. Blade of Fury straightened his posture, ready to move, when he suddenly noticed a young man wearing a mask standing near the checkpoint exit. Staring intently at him with deep, probing eyes, Blade of Fury felt like he was being targeted, a chill running down his spine. Instinctively, he cast a scan. Based on your level, you can only obtain the following information: Harlan, yellow name, level, attributes, danger level, extremely fatal. Chapter 057 Mission Reward Quota, extremely fatal. Blade of Fury nervously swallowed hard. Even when scanning the armed guards on the train, the danger level was only high. This person was the most dangerous individual he had ever encountered. Aside from the name, all data were question marks. What level of character was this? Wasn't the city supposed to be safe? Was he going to experience his first death today? Just then, Harlan spoke, his first words nearly causing Blade of Fury to fall over. "Scanning people the moment you meet them. Very impolite, you know." Blade of Fury jolted. Official guide stated that if the level difference was more than 30 levels, scanning an NPC would be detected. Had he encountered such a high-level powerhouse as soon as he entered the city? Harlan chuckled inwardly. Rookie move. "Kid, I know your type. Scan on site. I was the same back in the day." Since hearing about the internal beta, Harlan had considered contacting players. He located all newbie starting points on the map, the closest being Great Horn Mountain Settlement, only 3 days away, but with Sprout actively searching for him. Harlan didn't want to leave West Capital easily. Now that internal beta players could post on the forums, Harlan kept a close watch. He quickly found a post analyzing the beta advantage. Map exploration. The ID was none other than Moonlit Serenade, a top-tier pro player, frequently posting guides and tutorials, a genuinely nice guy and handsome to boot, important. With a massive fan base, also a powerhouse, holding numerous accolades. In his past life, he consistently ranked in the top 30 in the China SERVERS Chinese letter expert ranking. Harlan's best rank was 47th. In those years before he got a girlfriend, he even dropped out of the top 100. Thus, he concluded, stay away from girls. Achieve career success. Harlan shared this conclusion with the 28-year-old single owner of the convenience store downstairs, a familiar face. The store owner just gave a cold laugh and said, good point, but I choose girls. Well, girls don't choose you, and just like that, Harlan lost his 5% discount privilege at the store. The China server's expert ranking wasn't just based on pure skill. Star Ocean had various competition types, personal duels, gauntlet matches, team battles. Mission races, timed free exploration, hunting survival, siege defense, speed chases, mixed kill matches, secret realm competitions, and more. Small scale. Head-on fights were only part of the equation. Harlan, often hired to settle scores, had excellent combat skills, but lacked in other areas, like trash talk. A near-divine weapon, which he was diligently practicing. Reading the post, Harlan guessed internal beta players might come to West Capital. He had been loitering near the checkpoint for days. The moment the 4 pro players passed through, he spotted them. Not because Harlan had exceptional eyesight, but because he realized he could see the names above players' heads. Wow, a bunch of dazzling pro IDs, all big names from his past life, impossible to miss. Could it be because I have a panel? Harlan wondered. This was good news. Players had scan functions, seeing all NPC names, and he could instantly recognize players in a crowd. Am I an NPC with player functions or a player with NPC functions? Harlan couldn't help but internally complain. This contact with players was to test the robustness of his NPC functions. Brave warrior, I need your help. Do you have some time? Standard mission trigger opening line. So cute. Blade of Fury was stunned, although he didn't know why Harlan was looking for him. It didn't stop him from getting excited, triggering a high-level NPC as soon as he entered West Capital. This place was definitely his lucky ground. Blade of Fury was thrilled. Trying to keep his tone calm, I'm willing to help. I need a loaf of bread. Can you find one for me? The moment he said that, Harlan received a prompt. Do you want to issue a mission to Blade of Fury? Here it comes. His panel could even prompt NPC functions. Could all his actions be data-driven? Maybe this wasn't a normal player panel. It mutated during the transmigration. Felt a bit like No Man's Sky. Harlan narrowed his eyes. Next was testing the specific effects. Yes, please set mission requirements and rewards. Reward experience quota is limited. Quota depends on your level, rank, faction influence, and legend rating. P.S. You have the authority to give additional material rewards, which can be anything you own. Money, items, experience, skills. A virtual box appeared before him. Divided into 2 sides, the left side allowed choosing mission types, categorized as normal, pool, competitive, challenge, series, chain, faction, and many more. A wide variety. The right side displayed the quota, divided into 2 categories, maximum reward quota and daily total quota limit. The current experience quota was 11,600 experience, system generated, not deducting from his own experience. Descriptions were listed below the 2 options. Maximum reward quota, 11,600 experience, total level 24. Plus 7,200, after advancement, experience quota per level increases, first advancement plus 300 quota per level, rank E, plus 3,000 faction, sprout, hostile, plus 1,000. 13th Bureau, neutral, plus 400 legend rating. 0 maximum reward quota was the reward limit for a single mission, meaning Harlan could only set a maximum of 11. 600 experience as reward for one mission. Daily total quota limit was self-explanatory. The total reward amount he could give out in a day, currently 5 times the maximum reward quota. Or 58,000, refreshing every 24 hours. Harlan experimented and found a limitation. If his maximum reward quota didn't meet the basic rewards standard for the mission difficulty, the mission would fail to issue. For example, issuing a mission to destroy the Sprout organization, difficulty A rank. An A rank mission's minimum reward requirement was far above his quota. So the mission couldn't be established. With 11,600 quota, he could only issue E rank normal missions. The minimum standard for D rank was 30,000 experience. Also, different mission types had different quota requirements not specified on the panel. Harlan had to try each one, with prompts appearing when a mission failed. If only I could convert the quota into my own experience. Harlan daydreamed, tried it, and of course, it didn't work. The quota wasn't his experience. And he couldn't issue missions to himself. Targets were limited to players. This confirmed a guess. His essence wasn't a player, just someone with a panel. Harlan pouted. He only earned about 20 to 30k experience daily, but had nearly 60k reward quota. If he focused on nurturing a player, their progress would be lightning fast. But he wasn't going to do that. This function seems like it can command players. Harlan's eyes suddenly lit up, instantly realizing various uses. The most obvious was attracting players to do missions. Becoming his helpers, exceptionally useful in many situations. Players were profit-driven, could be treated as mercenaries with no bottom line, as long as rewards were generous. They could be used for his purposes. Players wouldn't waste time on low-reward missions. To make the horse run, you had to feed it, so increasing the quota was imperative. The higher the quota, the more helpful it would be to him. Besides experience quota, Harlan could also use his own items as extra rewards. Harlan suddenly understood something. In any game, generally only powerful or influential high-level NPCs would issue high-reward, high-difficulty missions. The principle was similar to his quota limit. Just that the panel datafied it. Harlan casually set up a normal mission and issued it. At the same time, Blade of Fury received the mission, instantly dumbfounded. What the hell? High-level NPC missions were this simple, just a loaf of bread, and the reward was only 1 credit. Are you broke or what? Wait, Blade of Fury realized something. Based on his virtual game experience, this must be a prerequisite mission, a test. Satisfy the NPC to trigger subsequent missions. Failure meant missing out on this NPC. The more Blade of Fury thought, the more likely it seemed. He immediately took out 7 loaves of bread, all his rations, handing them all to Harlan. Sincerely saying, "This is all the bread I have, take it all." Harlan was bewildered. What's happening? Are players now used to overcompleting missions? Not like what he remembered. Taking the bread, the mission completion prompt appeared. Everything smooth. Harlan nodded inwardly. There were many mission types. Harlan didn't plan to try them all at once, prioritizing testing other NPC functions. Harlan noticed a small figure icon appeared beside Blade of Fury's ID. Focusing on the icon, a new prompt appeared on his panel, a virtual gauge-like thing in front of him, visible only to him. A small pointer was in the middle. Red on the left, green on the right. You want to adjust Blade of Fury's favorability. This could even be adjusted. Harlan was flabbergasted. Would this change his own thoughts? If he maxed it out, would he suddenly turn gay? No, can't risk it. Harlan tried moving the pointer to the right. Chinese letter, left a bit, lowering favorability by 5 points. He found his thoughts unchanged, instantly relieved. Thankfully, favorability was just a value, not affecting his real thoughts. This function seems a bit useless, Harlan thought. Harlan's favorability towards you decreased by 5 points, current relationship, indifferent. Holy crap, why did favorability decrease after completing the mission? Blade of Fury was totally confused. What the hell? Chapter 058 Prehistoric Pit. Harlan understood the favorability function. Thinking about it, he realized he had the function to sell things to players, and a sinister chuckle escaped him. "Kid, you're not bad. I like you. I only sell things to those with fate." Blade of Fury, still freaking out, was again bewildered, dumbfounded. Favorability dropped, but he said he liked me. Is favorability calculated in reverse in this game? Why is this NPC laughing so creepily, so scary, feeling a cold shiver down my spine, seriously eerie? You want to open a personal shop for Blade of Fury? Harlan raised an eyebrow. Yes, a virtual box similar to the mission issuing one appeared, still divided into two sides. Left side was Item Shop, prompting him to put up his items. Even items not currently on him could be listed. Right side was Skill Shop, where he could list skills he possessed. Harlan tried putting a few up. Please set item price. Note, price can be currency, experience, barter. You can also set purchase conditions, including but not limited to favorability. Level, skills, profession. The universe was vast, currencies numerous. Aquamarine credits were just planet Aquamarine's currency. The only universal currency was Inar. Currency types could be freely set, provided you had encountered them. This function is really comprehensive. Harlan was amazed, suddenly realizing. If he set favorability purchase limits on items, wouldn't the seemingly useless favorability adjustment instantly become bait? Oh, isn't this the developer's trick to retain players? Luring, attracting players to grind NPC favorability, forcibly increasing player playtime. Back in the day, he had done dozens of high-difficulty missions to grind Glorious Federation reputation to revered. Just to buy a Glory-class flagship, had he become a landowner singing praises after turning from a serf, from a great proletarian freedom fighter to a heinous capitalist corrupt official. Awesome. My panel. Harlan set up the items, confirmed the listing. A shop interface appeared before Blade of Fury. One glance, and his eyes were instantly glued. Mouth agape, face flushed, finally sputtering out a word. Artifacts, folding combat blade, high-energy bullets, Type 73 Hornet pistol, Jason's submachine gun. Military saber rifle. Blade of Fury's eyes were bloodshot, stimulated by the attributes of these items. All of them were artifacts to him. If he had these, he could definitely outpace all other players by several levels. Then he looked at the prices, as if a bucket of ice water had been poured over him, chilling him from head to toe. His heart sinking. The cheapest high-energy bullet, one round cost 100 credits. Are you robbing a bank? And that lightweight powered arm, requiring 10 plus favorability. Based on this NPC's favorability dropping mission algorithm, was this gear forever out of his reach? No wonder the danger level was extremely fatal. This NPC was definitely not someone his level should be contacting. The item shop infuriated Blade of Fury. Then he glanced at the skill shop, and he instantly revived. Basic combat, basic shooting, grappling. Just these common skills made Blade of Fury drool. Looking further down, he was instantly shocked speechless. Profession knowledge for class change mechanic, and a whole bunch of miscellaneous mechanic skills. What shocked Blade of Fury most was Kai refinement technique, divine skill. Blade of Fury roared inwardly. Harlan suddenly shook his head. Too bad you're not a mechanic. You can't learn my skills. Blade of Fury froze, caught in a dilemma. He had already regarded Harlan as a mysterious mentor, hidden NPC, a rare opportunity. If he could learn from him, his growth speed would crush all other players, but he preferred martial arts. It was clear from his ID, counting the credits and experience he had. Just enough to learn one basic mechanic knowledge. Blade of Fury finally made up his mind. Missing such a lottery-level chance would be a lifetime regret. I'm betting on it. This time I definitely won't lose out. Change class to mechanic. Confirm. Your basic weaponry has been learned. You gained 500 experience. 100 Aquamarine credits. Blade of Fury's skill learning costs were all paid to Harlan as tuition. Teaching skills was teaching. His own skills remained unchanged. Harlan had carefully considered which skills to display. Advanced knowledge and blueprints were definitely not for sale. Active combat skills like slide-step shot were also not listed. Most skills he was teaching were skills players could easily obtain, though most players didn't know that yet. For example, Kai refinement technique. Players would definitely awaken it after their first advancement at level 20, but seeing Blade of Fury's excited, breathless state, he clearly didn't know that. Selling skills players would learn anyway was like printing money, but Harlan understood the principle of hunger marketing. Kai refinement technique's price was set at 10,000 experience, 3,000 aquamarine credits, a fortune for newbies, and he also set a favorability requirement of 10 plus to purchase. Thinking of this, Harlan quickly adjusted Blade of Fury's favorability back to 0, always give customers some hope and anticipation. Blade of Fury immediately misunderstood, thinking Harlan loved transactions. Only buying things could increase favorability. He secretly decided to patronize Harlan's shop more often. Having tested basic NPC functions, Harlan had achieved his goal and walked away. "Wait, don't go, I want to follow you, big boss," Blade of Fury panicked. Quickly saying, "Where can I find you later?" Harlan paused, wrote the repair shop address on a slip of paper, handed it to Blade of Fury, and casually left. Leaving a mysterious silhouette, Blade of Fury treasured the slip of paper, carefully pocketing it, thrilled. "This is my opportunity." Those powerful mechanic equipment and skills were enough to put him ahead of all players. With this advantage, he could definitely stand out, but only if this opportunity was his alone. Blade of Fury thought, "I can't let others discover this hidden NPC." A few internal beta players were like insignificant ripples to West Capital, a huge city, unnoticed, and all penniless. Harlan wasn't interested in them for now. This trip was solely to test NPC functions. The results satisfied him, various ways to trick players forming in his mind. Harlan's eyes narrowed slightly. His thoughts drifting. Scenes from his memory surfaced, tinted with a hazy hue, like illusions in a mirror. In his past life, Blade of Fury was among the first batch of pro players to conquer Star Ocean. A top-tier martial artist expert, making a big splash in the first season, earning one of the 24 China server slots. This honor catapulted Blade of Fury from obscurity to fame, establishing his status. But now, a future god-tier martial artist player had been tricked by him into becoming a mechanic. What the future held was uncertain. Harlan dared to choose mechanic because he knew mechanics were incredibly powerful in the late game, overwhelming most players, but current players obviously didn't know this. Mechanics were lackluster and weak in the early game. Countless mechanic players, even pros, had re-rolled out of frustration and hopelessness. "Feels like I kinda screwed him over." Harlan shook his head. What screw over? Strictly speaking, it was Blade of Fury's own choice. If he could persevere, he would definitely thank him several versions later. Well, maybe. Chapter 059 Players B-Rank Mission West Capital offered many job opportunities. The recruitment office at the checkpoint could enlist you in the Star Dragon Army. Some underworld gangs in the 8th District slums were hiring, male applicants only, blatantly exposing workplace gender discrimination. Various shops on the streets had countless daily quests. Maybe grabbing a random passerby could trigger daily-style quests like Find Missing Wallet, Catch Cat in Tree, and various businesses were hiring part-timers. Ways to earn credits, confirming Moonlit Serenade's deduction. New maps held countless opportunities. Of course, West Capital was a high-level map after all. Many areas were off-limits to low-level newbies. Moonlit Serenade and his team also hit walls. Raindrop inquired about West Capital Academy, but was turned away. Quite frustrated, Sparkling Fried Rice went to the 1st District and was chased out by sentries with gun muzzles, almost experiencing his first death. The next day, Moonlit Serenade, Raindrop, and Sparkling Fried Rice chose to join the army, enlisting in the Star Dragon Army and becoming soldiers, finally unlocking the combat profession recruit. They were happily doing various training missions, their faction affiliation becoming more specific, from Star Dragon Nation to Star Dragon Army, their identity changing to private. Moonlit Serenade didn't forget the solo Blade of Fury. They had added each other as friends on the train. Moonlit Serenade kindly informed Blade of Fury via comms about joining the army. But Blade of Fury brushed him off with a few perfunctory words and hung up, leaving Moonlit Serenade puzzled, thinking Blade of Fury wasn't interested. Shaking his head and ignoring it, Moonlit Serenade had no idea Blade of Fury looked down on the opportunities he mentioned, wholeheartedly clinging to Harlan's thick thigh. Feeling ecstatic, to thoroughly test the limitations of issuing missions, Harlan kept giving Blade of Fury various bizarre tasks, including kick 10 passers-by's butts, pull down patrolling police officers' pants, do a 5-minute Swan Lake-style pirouette while standing on one leg, stick out your butt and shout Chinese letter, male sign, Chinese letter 3 times. And so on. After testing, Harlan finally confirmed, as long as his reward quota met the difficulty standard, he could issue missions with any content. No restrictions. Blade of Fury, however, was in ecstasy. These missions were full of perverted, exhibitionist tastes, making Harlan increasingly terrifying to him. Just being watched by Harlan sent a chill from his crotch straight to his scalp, but Harlan's experience rewards were several times higher than newbie quests. For the experience, Blade of Fury personally shattered his pure, innocent heart of integrity and submitted. Why were his eyes full of tears? It was a desperate cry against this heavy-tasting world. The reward for abandoning integrity allowed him to level up quickly. He learned various basic skills from Harlan, further contributing experience to Harlan. The internal beta, though unexpected, didn't significantly affect Harlan's overall plan. Compared to planet Aquamarine's population, internal beta players scattered across the planet were just a drop in the ocean. Players needed time to grow to influence the newbie planet's situation. The internal beta was only 12 days, not enough to do much, a small, inconspicuous anomaly in the ocean. Through continuous accumulation, would become a world-sweeping storm. Internal beta players were all penniless, not much to gain from them directly, but in the long run. Players were the biggest consumer group. Harlan controlled mission experience, more than newbie quests, but only slightly. He was subtly helping Blade of Fury grow. Part of his plan, Blade of Fury, with his missions and equipment bought from him, should have a standout performance before everyone else leveled up, even if Blade of Fury wanted to keep a low profile. His club wouldn't allow it, definitely promoting him, sparking other players' curiosity about Blade of Fury's opportunity, expanding his potential customer base. When the time came to rally and actively reach out, a deluge of experience and cash would drown him, Blade of Fury's petty desire to monopolize his opportunity. Harlan was well aware, but didn't mind. It was human nature. Time flowed. Public beta countdown. 126 days, 11 hours, 32 minutes. Besides manufacturing high-energy bullets to grind experience, Harlan spent his leisure time browsing player forums. Player forums were authoritative platforms for player communication, generally used to kill time while setting up stalls or waiting to respawn. Now, only internal beta players were posting. Planet Aquamarine's Rain's women are all so beautiful, desperately seeking players to team up and challenge yellow sand bandits. Location: Longsong Planet, Fallen Dragon Valley. Coordinates: photos of Palatan Planet's magic floating city scenery, randomized as a tentacle monster. Asking how to change race, online waiting. Damn, I want to trade with you, I want to be a tentacle monster. Posts were generally requests for help and sharing intel. Some guilds showcasing team progress to boost reputation. Over a dozen newbie planets with magic civilizations, ancient civilizations, sci-fi civilizations, martial arts civilizations, religious civilizations, etc. Diverse races, varied social structures. Most popular was Frostwinter Planet, territory of the Void Demon race. A stronghold of the Extinguishing Legion. Most players there weren't human, though their ideology, extinguish the sparks of civilization, was self-consistent. Harlan still felt a subtle bore ache, feeling every time he saw the name Extinguishing Legion. Suddenly, a new post appeared, instantly pinned to the top. Catching his attention, first B-rank mission, Harlan made a surprised sound. He remembered the first B-rank mission appeared after public beta. How could anyone access this level of mission in internal beta? Curious, Harlan clicked in, seeing a bunch of players frantically discussing and shitposting below. Lying, right? I haven't even seen a D-rank mission. Upstairs, idiot. Post has pics. Truth is truth. Definitely photoshopped. Otherwise, why only screenshot mission name, not mission content? Hilarious. Posting it so you can go do the mission. Difficulty must be sky high. We haven't even passed newbie phase. How to complete? Poster is God Clan Guild. Their elites might have a way. Anyone big brain know which planet this is? Smiling at all you dogheads. Sorry, my wankai ran out. Harlan chuckled. A hint of nostalgia rising, carefully reading through the dozen pages of replies, then turning to the content. The post only had a screenshot of the mission name. And that screenshot instantly made Harlan's eyes narrow. B-rank mission, investigate 0. Harlan immediately thought of the Sprout organization. Looking at the poster, officially verified ID, God Clan Guild, God Temple Club's Guild, God Temple Club, a powerhouse in the pro scene, produced countless big names. With its own industry chain, Harlan had once had a feud with them, taking a revenge job, blowing up the God Clan Guild leader multiple times, posing his corpse in various shameful poses for screenshots. Posted on the forum for paid viewing, titles following WC Shock News style, shocking. Why is God Clan leader, women weep, men fall silent, raking in quick cash. Then chased by the entire God Clan Guild for a month. Missed the feeling of killing players. Harlan sighed, turning to look at Blade of Fury. Blade of Fury froze. Sensing malice in Harlan's gaze, terrified to move, standing like a wooden statue, forehead sweating, Harlan shook his head, sinking into contemplation. In his past life, God Clan Guild joined the Sprout faction, one of the biggest player guilds on the Sprout side. Seemed unchanged now. Even a group of internal beta players could receive missions to investigate him. Sprout's killing intent towards him was firm. Harlan's eyes flashed, a hint of coldness in them, for current players wanting to bypass the 13th Bureau's eyes and ears. Finding Harlan who could easily crush them was sky-high difficulty. No wonder it was rated B-rank mission. Only relying on sheer numbers and endless waves of players would give a sliver of chance. But God Clan Guild seemed to have no shortage of manpower. Suddenly, Harlan knew his next target, which Sprout base to choose. God Clan Guild had 15 internal beta slots. Fully embodying privilege, guild leader and vice leader personally led a portion of core elites into internal beta. After discussion, they expressed a preference for technology in the system survey. Their thinking was simple. Since Star Ocean's background was cosmos and stars, technology must be the main theme. Based on this choice, God Clan was assigned to planet Aquamarine. Quickly pooling credits to buy a map, guild leader Jupiter, after careful consideration, chose the Sprout organization as their initial faction. Coincidentally, near their starting point, Crow Forest Town, was a Sprout base. Jupiter felt the Sprout organization must be the strongest faction, hostile to all nations on the planet, yet able to exist stably. How unfathomable was their power? As for which NPC faction's ideology was correct, who cared? Only late-stage internet addicts would care about a bunch of NPCs' lives. Needing Yang's technology treatment, facts didn't disappoint God Clan either. Joining the Sprout faction, they were taken to a new scene called Dark Crow Valley Base. Officially becoming low-level Sprout members, gaining a large number of training missions, the biggest surprise was the B-rank mission Investigate Zero. Even God Clan hadn't expected such a big reward, which made their hearts race. Mission prompts were very brief, only stating mission target 0 was in Star Dragon territory. No other clues. Currently, God Clan Guild was holding an urgent meeting discussing how to complete this mission. Jupiter said solemnly, "This is the first B-rank mission. Seems to be non-combat. With our current levels, it's possible to complete. Rewards are extremely generous, can put us ahead of all players. Whether we can suppress other guilds later depends on whether we can seize this opportunity. We only know 0 is in Star Dragon, such a vast area, like finding a needle in a haystack. Finding an NPC chance is too small. Besides, internal beta time is running out. So, to complete this mission, we can only hope for public beta. Before that, we should conduct preliminary investigation," core member Poseidon said. Everyone nodded. Chiming in, various ideas proposed. Jupiter liked digging out hidden elements, thoughtfully saying, "Mission prompts vaguely express Sprout and 0 are hostile. If we capture 0 alive or even kill him, are there extra rewards? Makes sense, worthy of old pig. That's probably A-rank difficulty." Poseidon wasn't optimistic. "No mission is impossible, just haven't found a shortcut yet." Jupiter tapped the conference table. 1 week after internal beta is public beta, during this week. Other elders need to discuss solutions. Public beta, continue doing this mission. This will be the breakthrough for pioneering, Vice Leader Shiva proudly said. By public beta, we'll have guild resources supporting us. If even we can't handle this mission, no one can. True, Jupiter nodded. Poseidon suggested, borrowing other players' power, much faster than us finding him ourselves. Jupiter's eyes lit up. Makes sense, post to announce 0's appearance. Offer a bounty. As long as they contribute valuable clues, we'll pay them. God Temple Club was a powerhouse, loaded. Chapter 060 Emergency Assassination. God Clan is really rich. If only I could find 0. Blade of Fury saw God Clan Guild's post, glancing at the bounty amount, looking regretful. But Blade of Fury wasn't envious of big guild's opportunities at all. He looked at Harlan beside him, eyes full of fervor. As long as I cling to this thick thigh, my leveling speed will definitely be faster than anyone else. Initially, though his body obeyed Harlan's missions, he psychologically resisted, but gradually he found these missions quite interesting, as long as he dropped his integrity. They were simpler than monster grinding, quest running, easy and fun, gradually getting a taste and becoming addicted. Blade of Fury felt his thoughts sublimating. Vaguely understanding something. Shame was a gene lock hindering human development. Perverts. No, just great pioneers, incomprehensible to ordinary people. Martyrs transcending the mundane. Kira looked strangely at Blade of Fury, who was sitting at the doorway, staring expectantly at Harlan, and said, "Is he chasing after you?" "Harlan, I think he's very sincere. Why don't you just take him?" Kira giggled mischievously. She had finally shaken off the awkwardness of the last misunderstanding. Laughing and joking with Harlan again, Harlan rolled his eyes, reaching out to tickle Kira's ribs. Kira quickly dodged, shrieking, hands crossed, covering her waist. Nervously staring at Harlan, ready to run at any moment. Because Grandpa had hinted at wanting to set her and Harlan up, Kira had been nervous for a long time. But she gradually realized Harlan's affectionate gestures weren't because he had feelings for her, but because he simply didn't treat her as a woman, or rather, didn't treat women specially. This relieved Kira, but also made her doubt her own charm. A woman's heart is like a needle in the sea. If you please her, she'll be wary of you. If you ignore her, she'll be annoyed. Of course, this situation was based on looks. If you were handsome enough, pleasing her would get you a girlfriend. Ignoring her would still get you a girlfriend. So, it's not pessimism. Most people are destined from birth to either eat dog food or get burned to death. Kira was dressed lightly, the white soft flesh in front of her chest pulled into a thrilling curve. Harlan felt no fluctuations in his heart, completely immune. Beauties, he had seen too many. Recently, he had been working 15 hours a day, seemingly trending towards asexualism. Last night, he even dreamt of remolding his little dick into a machine gun. Waking up, he seriously considered the feasibility, surprisingly finding it quite practical, scaring himself into quickly recalling a dozen ex-girlfriends like May May. May May, May May, May May, May May, May May, May May, May May to reset his masculine biological values. A man may die, but his dick must not be missing. Glancing at Blade of Fury. Harlan silently calculated time. Internal beta only had 1 day left. This guy would finally scram. He only tested NPC functions on Blade of Fury. The other pro players who came to West Capital. He didn't contact, no need to. Suddenly, a prompt appeared on his panel. You have triggered emergency mission assassination. Mission prompt. Assassins are approaching the battlefield. Mission objective, survive. Mission reward, unknown. Harlan's expression instantly turned grim. Emergency mission. Attack imminent. Damn it, old man Lou isn't home right now. Felix and the others were constantly monitoring the surroundings, yet he still triggered a mission. This meant the enemy was approaching through extraordinary means. Likely in a spur, Harlan didn't have time to explain, rushed back to the room, grabbed all his weapons and strode out of the repair shop. For old man Lou's hidden plotline. He didn't want to implicate Kira. Blade of Fury quickly followed. Harlan glanced at him, silent, moving quickly, subtly showing alertness, sensing someone was secretly watching him. If the opponent kept lurking in the dark, it would be a time bomb. Better to proactively force them to act. The temperature dropped. Blade of Fury rubbed his arms. Suddenly feeling afraid, an invisible killing intent was gathering. Harlan proactively went into a dark alley. Walking through the alley, his alertness peaked. His vision suddenly went black, as if falling into a misty abyss of darkness, losing all sound, no point of reference, like being in the womb, peaceful and quiet. Making you want to just fall asleep. Illusion. Harlan's eyes widened, Kai rushing to his brain. You are trapped in an illusion. Judgment in progress. Your intelligence is above 50 points. Judgment successful. You are immune to this illusion. Darkness shattered. Illusion vanished the moment his senses returned. Harlan found a strange male assassin had appeared 5 meters away, pointing a gun at his forehead, a confident, cold smile on his face. Click. The assassin pulled the trigger. Harlan's expression changed. Such close range, how to dodge a bullet. People often said, in the moment before mortal danger, time would stretch infinitely. Harlan felt time flow seemingly slow down. Next moment, Harlan used extreme rationality to suppress all negative emotions, his eyes instantly calm as ice. I'm not dead yet, damn it. Time flow returned to normal. The instant the bullet left the barrel, Harlan resolutely activated slide step shot, his entire body seemingly teleporting. Shifting sideways a short distance, slide step shot's effect was completing a slide up to 3 meters instantly, reducing the movement distance, proportionally shortened the time required. Harlan set the movement distance to a mere 5 centimeters, almost instantaneously completing the dodge, avoiding the fatal point. The bullet grazed Harlan's cheek, plowing out a searing, flesh-rolling blood track, scorching pain stimulating his nerves. The certain kill bullet, unbelievably dodged by him by a hair's breadth. The assassin's face changed. Nosser, as Sprout Organization's assassination executor, a top assassin, had used illusion Esper abilities to assassinate over 100 targets, never failing even against fellow Espers. Organization intel said Zero's strength was at most elite agent level, only reliant on mechanical combat, not strong himself. How could he break free from his illusions so quickly? Intel was wrong. While dodging at lightning speed, Harlan phantom-like drew the two Desert Eagles holstered at his lower back. Activating burst fire mode, Fiery Kai channeling into the dual pistols, simultaneously activating overload, roaring large-caliber bullets erupted, recoil shaking his wrists slightly. Bang, 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 bullets continuously hit the caught-off-guard Nossa, all blasting into Nossa's chest. Dodge, counterattack, completed simultaneously. Harlan's application of slide-step shot was divine, seemingly simple, actually a perfect eruption of his rich combat experience. Nossa's body jolted repeatedly. Had it not been for Kai protecting him, he would have been blasted through and through. Spitting out a mouthful of blood, he erupted Kai, quickly retreating. Trying to escape, one step wrong, every step lost. He believed in the Assassin's Creed. One strike fails, retreat immediately. Harlan's face was ice cold. Kai gathering in his legs, catching up to Nossa. He quickly swapped to a high-energy magazine, aimed ahead of Nossa, and resolutely fired. A sea of fire surged up. Blocking the path, Nossa hastily stopped, gritting his teeth, turning to face the approaching Harlan, eyes glowing with swirling colorful mist, deep and eerie. Illusion intrusion detected. Judgment in progress. Your intelligence is above 50 points. Judgment successful. You are immune to this illusion. Bang. Harlan's movements paused without a word, accurately shooting Nossa in the neck, blasting a horrifying blood hole. Nossa's eyes widened, filled with horror. Clutching his neck, but unable to stop the blood spurting out. Wanting to speak, his trachea was already blasted apart, only able to make wheezing sounds. Why, his illusion Esper ability, infallible, couldn't affect zero. Harlan strode closer, dual pistols like spears, directly slamming into Nossa, knocking him over. Dual pistols pressed against his chest, pinning him to the ground, resolutely pulling the trigger. Thud, gunshot muffled, bullet penetrated flesh. The ground beneath Nossa, suddenly erupting into a splash of crimson rose. Flames erupted from his facial features, his internal organs instantly burned to cinders by the high-energy bullet. His wildly struggling hands limply dropped. You have killed Sprout Organization Executive Nossa Corno, LV-25 Esper. You gained 7,500 experience. You have completed Emergency Mission Assassination. You gained a Character Descent card. Harlan breathed slightly heavily, blood soaking his mask, sliding down his cheek to his jaw, dripping down, splattering on the ground like red plum blossoms. Finally, silence returned to the surroundings. Only the crackling of flames remained. With Nossa dead, Blade of Fury finally broke free from the illusion. In his perception, only a moment had passed. Seeing the combat scene before him, he was completely dumbfounded. What just happened here?